Welcome to the Airgun Show. This week I'm sharing a few ideas to help you pass the time and improve your shooting while we're all stuck at home. But before that, I'm out on a squirrel shooting session that we managed to film before the lockdown. Right, I'm back out after squirrels today, and we're going to be shooting from the same hide that we used for an episode about squirrel shooting just a few weeks ago. On that occasion, we had two feeding stations set up next to each other, and we pitted peanuts against sunflower hearts. On that occasion, the peanuts won hands down. So what I've been doing since is just running the feeders with peanuts. Now, I've left the two feeders in situ really for nothing more than having that double capacity, so I don't have to travel back and forth so much just to keep them filled up. Being that the feeders have been in place for so long, I have shot a lot of squirrels from here now, but the feed's still going down fairly quickly, so I'm pretty confident that there are more to be had. Now, to make things a bit different today, I've got the side shot scope camera attachment on, which basically holds my iPhone so I can film straight through the scope. Now, what that's going to mean is that hopefully you can see exactly what I can see as I take shots, and we'll also try and record each of the kills through one of the main cameras. The gun I'm going to be using today is the FX Impact Mark II. Now, it's a really nice compact little air gun. It's going to handle really nicely in the hide. I will point out that this is not the absolute sledgehammer impact that I was using a couple of months ago for testing slugs. This is a sub 12 foot-pound 177, very, very quiet, perfect for this sort of ambush. It's got the oversized side shot magazine, which has got huge capacity, though I will be honest, I'm not expecting to get that many shots today. I'll be happy if we get, I don't know, 5 or 6 squirrels. The gun is mounted up with my MTC Mamba light scope. It's a scope I use frequently, really like and really get on very well with. That's held on with the usual sports match scope mounts, and as I mentioned already, I've got on the side shot camera mount, phone mount, so I can film what I'm shooting. So, that's the plan, and that's the kit. Now we just need to get settled into the hide. Right, so I've got myself into position. I don't really want to speak too much because obviously it's going to put the squirrels on edge, but this is very much my typical kind of setup for this sort of squirrel ambush. It's a hide that's been in place for weeks now. A key thing is you're going to need to be patient. You're going to be sat still for a while, so I like to try and make myself comfortable right from the start. I've got a beanbag seat and I'm shooting off of sticks. I'm already more or less completely in position to take the shot, so when squirrels do start to appear, I don't have to move about too much. Now, the chances are that they will be completely distracted by the feed, but I've still got a head net on. I just want that as much concealment as I can get, and I'm sat against a really thick tree trunk, so I won't be too silhouetted if they should look back this way. So yeah, that's the crux of the approach really. I'm going to try to be quiet now, and hopefully we'll get a few shots. It's unusual to get bored during a stakeout like this because there is so much to watch in the woods, and thanks to the appeal of the feeding station, I don't have to wait too long for the first squirrel to show up. Well, there's the first one. Took a little while to drop, but that really is absolutely typical of headshot squirrels. They just tend to clench up and hang on, but they are effectively stone dead as soon as that pellet strikes them in the head. There was a little bit of hawthorn in the way of the shot there, just a bit of a twig. I managed to weave that pellet through. That's a really good clean kill to kick us off.
The squirrels aren't exactly giving themselves up. It's not surprising because I've shot so many from here that there probably aren't many left. There are some other interesting visitors coming to the feeder though.
It's always nice to see woodpeckers visiting the feeder. They absolutely love peanuts. And in all honesty, they're probably a big part of the reason why the feeders, or the feed in particular, continues going down even after you've shot a lot of the squirrels.
The wait continues. All seems to be quiet in the woods, but another squirrel soon gives in to the urge to visit the feeder for a free meal.
That one was heading off after grabbing a peanut from the feeder, so I didn't want to hang around. Whacked it straight off the trunk. Really nice, swift, clean kill.
It is a lot quieter today than it has been on some of my previous sessions here, but there are still just enough squirrels showing up to keep me interested.
And that takes us up to 3. Again, there was a bit of twig just trying to get in the way of that shot. But I managed to find a gap, got the pellet through, and that's another one.
My patience really is being tested today, but just as I start to think we've had our lot, another squirrel puts in an appearance.
Well, that one didn't initially offer me a very clear target, but I waited, it eventually moved, offered me a much clearer shot. They're not exactly queuing up today, but we're getting a few shots, and every one I manage to account for will make a big difference.
I don't mind having to wait through long, unproductive periods in the hide, but I do have my limits, and after a very long quiet spell, I decide that it's time to draw this session to a close.
Right, well, we've not seen a squirrel for quite some time now, so it seems like a good time to call it a day. As I said at the outset, this feeder's been in place for quite a long time, and I have accounted for a lot of squirrels from it now. Now, getting rid of those squirrels is going to make a significant difference. Now, not only in cutting down on the tree damage that they cause through their bark stripping, but it's also going to give a huge boost to the indigenous wildlife here things like birds, obviously it will stop the squirrels predating on their eggs and chicks, and also animals like dormice that suffer as a consequence of the squirrels monopolising the natural food sources. I expect tallies from this feeder now to really start to slow down and eventually dry up. I'll probably give it another maybe 2 or 3 outings, after which I'll then take down these feeders, set them up somewhere else in another area within these woods, and then start all over again. The feeding station still just about delivering the goods there. And now, a few tips to help you make the most of your time during the lockdown.
Check out the great subscription deals for print and digital versions of Airgun Shooter magazine. You won't miss a single issue, even if you can't get to the shops.
Right, so lots of us are stuck at home on lockdown and the boredom is starting to creep in. First and foremost, well done for staying in. And secondly, count yourself lucky that you're still fit and well. Now, I'm also stuck at home, which means I can't catch up with the usual cameramen, Kev Hawker or Nicky Brown. So my daughter Violet is on camera duties today. Give them a wave, Violet. Right, well, the good news is that even though we're stuck indoors and can't get out and about as usual, there are still lots of things that we can do to improve our shooting when things do return to normal. So here are a few suggestions to get you started. One thing that we can all get on with is giving our guns a really good clean. Now, mine don't usually get much more than a quick wipe down with a lightly oiled cloth after each outing, but there's time to be a lot more thorough now. One thing that airguns can probably benefit from is being taken right out of the stock so that you can clean the areas that don't usually get a lot of attention. Now, thankfully, many online retailers are still operating, so you should be able to get your hands on everything you need to do a really good job. One job that I'm often guilty of neglecting is barrel cleaning, but there's no excuse for not getting on with that now. One word of warning: an airgun barrel needs a bit of lead in it to deliver optimum accuracy, so don't panic if your grouping initially goes astray. It should settle back down after you've put a few shots through the barrel. Now, whatever you decide to use for your barrel cleaning, be it patches, felt pellets or a pull through, you should be able to get hold of it online from somewhere like Pelpax. Another thing that we can get on with is making sure that our combos are set up absolutely perfectly, with scopes set dead upright and screws correctly tightened. We made a video on correct scope mounting a few years ago, and we'll put up a link so you can find it. If you're really lucky, you might just have a garden that's big enough to set up a range for your airgun. That means that once you've got your combo set up just right, you can go out and hone your zero. Again, we've made a video on how to zero properly, and we'll put up the link to guide you to that. Now, once you've got your combo zeroed over your chosen range, you can then set up targets over varying distances so you can work out how to use hold over and hold under correctly. Now, it's a lot easier to do than it sounds. We've also made a video on how to do that, and we'll put up the link to guide you to it. Of course, the most important thing about backyard shooting is to make sure that you do it safely and responsibly. Always ensure that you have a safe backstop in position. A large patio slab works very well. Show consideration for your neighbours and make sure that no pellets pass over your boundary. And remember, there are all sorts of things other than paper targets that you can use to test your marksmanship in the garden. Just make sure that you do it safely. So, there are a few things for you to crack on with during lockdown. Not only will they help to pass the time, they should also make you a better shooter when things eventually return to normality and we can all get back to doing what we love, be it in the field or on the club range. Stay safe.
Look out for the new and improved Airgun Shooter magazine, packed full of technique, gear and insight from some of the best shooters in the industry. Brand new look and free video content. Pick up your copy today in stores or online.
Check out the great subscription deals for print and digital versions of Airgun Shooter magazine. You won't miss a single issue, even if you can't get to the shops.
That's all for this week, but we'll be back again in a fortnight. Thank you for watching, and please don't forget to like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter. And do keep an eye on the BASC website for the latest advice on how movement restrictions might affect your shooting. Stay safe, and we'll see you next time.